My name is Stephanie. I've been an RN for almost 10 years now. I graduated from the program in Wenatchee Valley in 2008. I got a lot of really good experience there and enjoyed it, but didn't get to practice some of the skills that I'd like to utilize that I had just learned. So I applied for the position at the hospital, and I've been there for almost 6 years now.
I started there in 2009. I started as an LPN in long-term care, and then I went from there to the clinic. I worked there for about 3 years, and then I've been one of the charge nurses in the emergency room for the last 5 years.
I was born in Seattle, and I grew up spending time between Moses Lake and Bainbridge Island. We moved to Ephrata when my babies were little. I worked at CBH from 94 to 98 in-house as a transcriptionist, and then I did their radiology dictation for several more years. I did fire and ambulance in Ephrata while my kids were growing up, and when my youngest was a junior, I went back to school to get my nursing degree at Big Bend in Moses Lake.
There's lots of reasons that I chose to become a nurse. One of them was obviously for job stability. I wanted to help people. I really wanted to be able to help people, and I wanted to feel good about what I did at the end of the day when I went home. I wanted to know that I made a difference in people's lives. So I guess for me, Columbia Basin Hospital checked all those boxes. I started at a bigger hospital. It didn't take me really very long to realize that I really liked the small hospital feel better.
Rural hospitals can be difficult because you don't have some of the resources that the larger hospitals do, as far as sometimes diagnostic, sometimes specialty doctors, or just even specialties like respiratory therapy, wound care nurse. You don't have that available, and so you get to stretch the limits of your skills. If you need any of those services, that's you. It comes back to anything. You're doing the breathing treatments, you're doing the wound care, you're doing the suture removal, the cath placement, the IV placement, the monitoring of the fluids. We do it all.
Some of the reasons that I work at Columbia Basin Hospital is location. I live here, so I'm vested in this community. I want the hospital to succeed and give good care to the community. I came back to work there because a lot of people work at Columbia Basin Hospital for their entire careers, so clearly they're doing something right to their employees to keep them for 20, 25, 30 years, some people. I think that a lot of the people that work there, because they're invested in their own careers there, they like the community, they like the patients, they like their co-workers, and I think that that makes them go above and beyond a little bit. We also have staff that have been there for a really long time that are going to teach you and help you to grow in your skills.
I had an opportunity to go to work at some bigger hospitals, and they're like, well, it's great, we have an IV start team. And I'm like, well, that's what I wanted to do. Like, I know it sounds sick, but I like starting IVs. Or they are like, we have respiratory therapy, they're gonna come in and do the EKG, and they're gonna do the breathing treatments for you. And that stuff, like, I feel like the continuity care is great at smaller hospitals because you get to see a patient from the very beginning till you walk them out the door at the end of the day.
Columbia Basin Hospital has a lot of really good regular staff, and we're always looking to add more in. And we certainly are not the cliche nurses you hear sometimes nurses eat their young. We're very willing to answer questions and train new and young nurses that are coming on. In fact, we are a learning facility, so it's something that we do on a regular basis. In fact, we kind of worry if when people are training they don't ask questions. And just keep in mind that it is something that it's a learning process all the time. Every day you learn new things, which is part of what's great about being a nurse. So I think that that's one of our major strengths. We really are a cohesive staff, and we work on helping each other and supporting each other, and I love that environment. It's fantastic.
There's a lot of room for progression at Columbia Basin Hospital. There's a lot of training that can help you decide what your passion really is. If you don't know what that is, we have long-term care, we have assisted living, we have a med-surg section of the hospital for post-surgical or medical patients that are recovering from strokes or hip surgeries, orthopedic surgeries, that type of thing. We clearly admit some acute care and observation patients who might need to be watched while we're deciding whether or not they're having a cardiac event or treating them for pneumonia. Those are a little higher acuity. But we also have long-term care patients on our med-surg floor that they've been there for years. It's their home, and it gives you the opportunity to make relationships with your patients, which is kind of special too.
I love that our administrator will come by and ask how my daughter's like in college. I love that our director of nursing learns my kids' names. I love that I get to do all my own skills. Like in bigger hospitals, They have teams, IV start teams, they have respiratory therapy, so all these skills you slowly get taken away from you that you learned while you were in nursing school, and nursing becomes more just charting than anything else. So I love that at CBH, I get to start my own IVs, I get to do my own NG tubes, I get to do my own catheters, which sounds probably really gross, but it's super awesome. I get to hold my patients' hands when they are having a procedure and they don't have any family there with them and they're scared. So I guess at the end of the day, when I go home, I feel good knowing I made a difference. It wasn't just another day of work.
If you want to come and be part of a staff that supports each other and doesn't cut each other down and helps each other out, then Columbia Basin is the place to come.